It's not net planning. It's not net thinking. It's not net organizing my desk. It's not net emailing. It's not net web browsing. It's not net my card filing. It's not net cleaning my office again. And people just net busy themselves right out of the business. It's networking. It's net talking to people. That's what it is. It's net recruiting. It's not net planning, thinking, hoping, wishing, dreaming. It's net doing. That's really what it is. You got to do it.
We all gravitate towards the easy things in our lives. It's the people who are willing to engage and do the hard things. Pick up the phone, make the call. Pick up the phone, call the person you don't want to call. Those are the people who realize a level of success that the average person doesn't. It's the person who's willing to go beyond thinking about the business and really do it and do the hard things associated with it. Those are the people who succeed.
Entropy is a law of physics that basically says that nature tends towards chaos. And it takes energy to not degrade and go with the flow and end up at a low place rather than a high place. It takes energy to turn that natural tendency around and go forward. And so the success that people achieve in this life sometimes is simply a measure of how much energy they're willing to apply to bringing excellence to their life as opposed to letting gravity simply carry them down to mediocrity.
成功者，以我来讲成功者你就是因为你要做的事情呢，你的伙伴呢一直都在看，所以在我团队里边，我一直强调一件事情，就是要所谓的一个真正的成功者，他的言行，他的一举一动呢，他都要很谨慎的，因为下线呢都一直在看。 以他当为一个楷模，所以呢，必须要是一个很严谨的，所以这个是我个人的认为，这个是一个非常重要的。那么特质，那么我给他们的一个讲法是，永远保持动的状态，就所谓的像我个人的一个人生哲理那么就7个字：动到不能动为止。 就是一直保持动，一直保持动，一直保持动，因为所带领你的团队或者下线呢，他们所看到的，我的这个上线呢，他一直在动着，一直在动着，一直在动着，那么很自然的呢，他们就会一直跟随，一直上来的，这个是一个非常非常重要的一个观念。
I would say that this business provides you with an open door, but it's up to you to walk through it. Because you see, this business will work for you if you work for it.
You have to realize that this is a great business. You are involved in a tremendous business, one that can bring you great results. But you have to take action, and you must not give up. If you decide what your goal is, once you've decided what your goal is, you just have to pursue it relentlessly without giving up or without even the thought of giving up. You just have to keep working until you get there.
The person that wins in this business is the person that gives everything they have every single day to make a difference in people's lives. The people that sit back and think, oh, maybe I'll talk to somebody or maybe I won't. I need to watch a little TV, maybe watch the news, watch a little Seinfeld. They're the people that generally don't find the success that the people that are constantly putting their best foot forward.
I go back again to my grandmother because anytime any person goes into too much thinking, remember the little saying, too much analysis causes paralysis? My grandmother understood that very well. And she always said that if you were not in action, you allowed your mind to take over you. And I, as a 8-year-old one time or 9-year-old, I don't remember, I had a tantrum. And I was crying, and I had all these bad emotions going on. And my grandmother, she hardly even spoke to me. She grabbed me by the arm, took me into the garage, put me on the bicycle, and she said, go for a ride. And I will tell you, after I was in action for about half a block, there were no tears coming out of my eyes. And I believe you cannot cry while you're riding a bicycle. So, if you start just thinking, fine, think for a minute and then get into action, because it's the action that's going to allow you to connect to the result.
There's a characteristic that defines a successful distributor, and it's productivity. And I don't care whether you're in this business or whether you're in a traditional business, the people who rise to the top are the people who are productive. And it really is a critical component in this business that, that you be in action all the time.
これはもう普段自分の行動パターンにあるんですけども、最初はもうとても自分の今の現状からは手の届かないような大きな目標であっても、常日頃常にそのプラス思考で物事を捉えていたら、それが一歩一歩だんだんその手の届く範囲まで近づいていきます。ですから基本的にはもう強力なプラス思考で全てのことに臨んでいくということが重要だと思います。
What I say is, if I can do it, you can do it. Anybody can do it. I really feel that a lot of people, they do a lot of busy work, but they don't do productive work.
And being a leader, it is very important. If you're not focused, your distraction will be not only be duplicated but also be multiplied. So if you want your organization to be very much focused, with what they would be doing, you need to be 200%, 300% more focused than they are. And it's only when a leader can be so much focused, the organization can be focused as well.
I have to say in the beginning, I really did not know what focus is all about. But as I attend different Nu Skin meetings, I remember I heard a story about when racehorse, when they are on the racetrack, they have blinders on and they only see the front. So they don't get distracted as to what's happening on the side. And I think that's exactly what happened to me. I knew I wanted to become an executive. I wanted to make $2,400 a month. That is what I wanted. Whatever I need to do, I need to reach that. And I did not worry about any other things happening. I remember close to 1 year into business, there are other people that come in and say, oh, Marguerite, oh, you're doing network marketing. I have this other great network marketing company. You got to come and take a look. It can make money and blah, blah, this and blah, blah, that. And I said, I have a regular job. I have 2 kids. I have family. I have a husband. And I'm doing Nu Skin as a part-time. I don't want to do 2 or 3 network marketing to people call it diverse yourself. I call it'll dilute myself. So I figure, okay, I'm just going to do Nu Skin. I'm going to do one. I told them, between you and I, whichever one hit $10,000 first, we come back to each other. And then we'll discuss at that time what's going on. Naturally, all these people never came back to me. And I reached my $10,000 a month in 2 years.
So the power of focus is so absolutely critical in our business. I've heard one of our leaders, one of our team elite leaders, who says you have to have a laser focus to succeed in this business. The biggest distractions is TV. Now, why? Why is TV a distraction? Well, because it's a whole lot easier to sit in front of your TV than it is to go out and talk to somebody about network marketing. It's a whole lot easier to organize your tax papers on a monthly basis than it is to go out and talk to somebody about this business. And ultimately that will lead to the distributor's demise in this business. They will fail, and it's categorical. You will fail if you lose your focus on the fundamentals of this business.
Well, actually, a lot of people work very hard. And they also actually try very hard and give the best. They thought they give the best. But again, focus. Where is the focus? Are you focused on the several things? that you identify that will lead to your success, or identify by your upline, from their past experiences, the several things that you need to really focus on and work on it. If you're putting your best effort into the wrong thing, you will end up with a wrong result.
Yes, I think the action is very important. But of course, you're just running around like a chicken with a head. That doesn't do any good for you. So you have to thinking through it and to really have a clarity and a focus to achieve the results.
One of the things about this business is everybody experiences fear. I don't care whether you're talking to the most successful Blue Diamond or a brand new distributor. Everyone will say that there was a moment in their business process where they experienced fear that was overwhelming. It's picking up the phone for the first time and making that call. That phone can be the heaviest weight you've ever experienced because of fear. And just recognize that our highest paid distributors started at the very same place that the newest distributor is today. And they had that same fear. And the key was they were able to overcome it because goals and the drive to achieve their dreams were greater. They had greater momentum than the pull of fear.
For 17 years, I've had the opportunity to work with distributors around the world. It doesn't matter, Asia, Australasia, Europe, the Americas, doesn't matter where they've been. And every single distributor has something in common. And that is when they start this business, there's a level of fear there. It's just part of the business. The way I've seen people overcome this fear is by attacking it straight on.
People learn that pushing themselves to do things that frighten them, and then surviving those things help them to go on and do other things. And so having a belief structure that while I may be afraid of something, that doesn't mean I shouldn't do it, and it certainly doesn't mean that I can't do it, is an important thing.
Probably one of the most frightening things for me in my life is that I have to stand in front of crowds of 10 and 20 and 30,000 people and somehow convey to them what's in my heart and what's in my mind, and do it in a cogent and hopefully intelligent and funny fashion that they remember. It's pretty intimidating to go to our conventions around the world and stand in front of these people who are, many of whom are very, very good presenters. And yet I'm the one as the company CEO who has to stand in front of them and present.
この世の中に全然恐怖がない人っていうのはいないと思うんですね。いろんな恐怖があると思います。人によって違うと思いますけれども、私もこのビジネスを始めた時にやっぱり恐怖感というのがありました。このまんま頑張ってやっていかれるのかな、成功できるのかなっていうような大きな不安がありました。その中で私よりも先に成功していった方の後ろ姿を見ながら、私本当にこれでやっていかれるのかなって本当に不安がありましたけれども、でもそういう時には心を落ち着けて、あの人にもできたんだから私にもできるんだというような、これ自分自身に言い聞かせましたね。そしてニュースキのファミリーの人たち、アップラインの人たち、ダウンラインの人たち、サイドラインの人たちとよくコミュニケーションを取って相談したりとか励まし合ったりとか、そういうことで乗り越えてきました。でも一番の、パワーっていうのは絶対に成功したいという、幸せになりたいという、私はできるんだという確信をいつも心に持つことが一番の、素晴らしいパワーじゃないかなと思います。
I think a lot of times when we look at those who have been successful, we assume that they started out successful, confident, exactly the way we see them. And the reality is, and we know this because we've spoken with our top leaders, is that they, looking back acknowledge that they have been able to accomplish far more than they originally thought was possible. In other words, if they had looked forward and said at all the obstacles, they may have been fearful of what was ahead of them. But looking back, they realized that every time they faced an obstacle, they were able to overcome, succeed, and move forward. And so at the end of the journey, they were able to do more than they thought was originally possible by not fearing, by persevering, by sticking to it, and by overcoming.
I would say we all have our fears. We all sort of come to this earth with this little, I'm afraid of heights, I'm afraid of speaking in public. And it's really our responsibility to overcome those things, to become a better individual. And as soon as, have you ever, let's say you were afraid to go on a roller coaster, you were terrified of the roller coaster, and then you went on it and you thought, well, what's the big deal about that? That usually happens with things that we're afraid of. If we just take the giant leap of faith, the giant belief that we can do it, no matter what, because other people have done it, why can't we do it? And then just do it.
Well, fears come in because you are not certain of something. But at the same time, when you realize that, the same fear was with all your uplines, all your very successful uplines, and it's not something new. You're not the first one, being exposed to that. You have a lot of people who are successful, they were all exposed to that. So it's not something uncertain. It's certain. It's certainly there.
Confidence comes with competency. And as one of the ways to overcome fear is to simply become better at what you do by building competency, by becoming more familiar with the terrain that you're walking across. The fear begins to diminish. Your confidence comes up that you can talk about this subject matter, that you can ask people to do hard things because you've done it a number of times and know that you can work your way through those exercises. So building the fundamentals of competency will help you get through fear.
Courage is being resilient. Courage is always standing up. When you're being put down by anybody, have that inside of you, that mighty heart that stands you back on your feet to see tomorrow in a better light than what happened yesterday. That's courage.
I met a gold medal winner once, and I said, were you ever in fear? Did you ever have doubts? And he said, every single day I had doubts. The truth of it is, every single day I had doubts. But what I did is face them and took action. And the minute I was in action, I forgot about the doubts. It's kind of like worrying. If I want to worry, I'd rather pay somebody minimum wage to worry for me. Or I'll take a half an hour a day and I'll say, this is my time to worry, and I'll worry and worry and worry and worry. And when it's done, I just get into action.
The hard things to do are pick up the phone and talk to people. People are afraid of somebody saying no. And so you just dissect it and say, what's the worst thing that can happen? Am I still going to be alive if the person tells me no? Yeah, I'll be alive. I won't be dead. So I'll still be alive and I can talk to somebody else. And in the morning, you just got to jump in. You got to get the first no out of the way early in the day. And once you get the first no and you go, okay, I'm still alive, then it's like, boom, you can do it again. And the phone can just be picked up again and again and again. And then you're on a roll. It doesn't matter how many people tell you no, because every no means you're going to get closer, based on those numbers, to a yes.
When I make my phone calls, I figure they got 3 answers. Either no, which means they're not ready, maybe, which I'll get them on the product, or yes, I will invite them. Couldn't be worse than these 3 answers. So when I'm ready for these 3 answers, I just call and get it over with because I know I have to make these calls today. Just do it.
Preparation for presentations to me is huge. You can't just stand up and wing it. And the people who do in our business wing it because they've done it 1,000 times or 2,000 times or 5,000 times. People need to prepare to really be able to overcome their fears of giving presentations and of giving business opportunity presentations in particular. But as they do, as they suck it up and as they recognize that they are prepared, I think everyone can overcome their fears.
For me, I switched from viewing it as speaking to strangers who might slug me in the stomach. I've done some of that in my life. Talked to a stranger and had them treat you badly. But I switched it to, as soon as I got in this mindset that I'm about improving other people's lives, then every person that I approached, I was thinking, I can improve their life if they'll let me. And my presentation sort of took that feeling. And frankly, if I get them to smile, I feel like I've accomplished something. So maybe I won't get them to join the business and build their own. Maybe I'll just try to get them to get some life-improving product. That's not working. Maybe I'll at least get them to smile, and then off I'll go look for the next person that I can help.
Courage. You got to have the courage to talk to people. You have to have the courage to make yourself better, educate yourself, read, learn what this business is all about, go to meetings. You have to have the courage to be able to get up in the morning and know that you're going to be successful.
As you tell other people's story of how they were afraid of speaking in public. But we're not going to put them up there speaking at convention to start with. They're going to speak to their own little group, their own little children that they've gone out and recruited. Now that shouldn't be frightful if they've got them to that point, right? So then you have to ask yourself, are they looking for an excuse to fail because they're afraid of success? And I think that's really what happens in a lot of cases. People are afraid of fear success, and they sabotage themselves because it's an unknown element. They know the poverty, they know the complaining, they know this level of existence.
在做的过程里面呢，一定会有起伏。我们姑且把所谓的这种掉下来的那个心理状态就称叫做恐惧好了。我来克服这个所谓的恐惧，这个方式就是说，那只有多做，只有做。你停在那个地方，你就会乱想。那想了以后，当然就会有所谓的恐惧就出来了。那你不断地去做，不断去做，真的是一直保持在动的人呢，根本没有时间去恐惧的。就算是有恐惧的话，我常常鼓励我的伙伴，其实所有的创业者呢，都是要经过这些就是所谓的恐惧好了。那这个我想都不是很大的问题，因为本来就是要经过这道手续的。只有讲到这个的话，只有这样子的话，有时候我来鼓励我的伙伴啊，因为有经过这些起起落落，或者叫做所谓的恐惧好了，将来你才有资格在台上呢去分享你的这个所谓的经验传承。我们所讲的就是真感情的好文章。那么，所以你何妨经过这样的一个起起落落或者所谓的恐惧，我觉得还是一件好事情啊，对吧？因为你这样的话才可以跟人家分享很多的故事嘛，这是好事，这是好事。
It's actually has been a little bit surprising to me how often I will be talking to our most successful leaders and hear them say how on a daily basis they go back to the same books that they read in the first place. They go back to the same tapes. They go back to the same lessons that they continually have to sharpen in their minds and in themselves to remind themselves really what it takes to be successful in this business.
A successful distributor is someone who surrounds himself with good things, good people, good videos, good audios, always is listening to something positive. The success formula does just that. It brings good into somebody's life. It reminds them why they joined the business. It reminds them why they will never quit this business. It reminds them how important it is to continue to do the basic things every single day.
Well, this business is so simple that most people try to reinvent it and fail. And that's the challenge I see all the time with distributors who come in. They say, the fundamentals are just so simple that they can't believe that you can achieve wealth through just practicing those fundamentals. The most successful leaders in our business are people who've duplicated themselves. They lead by example. because they do the things that they ask their other people to do, and as a result, they're just practicing very simple fundamentals.
And what it really boils down to is you always go back to the basics, the beginning, and do more of the same. Keep it simple. You're making it too complex. Just keep it simple. Talk to people with a positive attitude. It's not for everyone, but eventually you'll find the people that you can relate to. You meet people everywhere you go. Share with them the products and your experience with them. And then when they have the experience, you reinforce that. And then when they meet somebody else, you help them reinforce that by building them up in this accomplishment and acknowledging it.
I think the other thing about fundamentals is that this business can easily become complicated. I mean, the reality is that the compensation plan alone is hard enough for someone to even understand, let alone explain. And sometimes our products are complex, our ingredients are complex, and we need to find ways to enable people to do the business without having to be a doctor, without having to know all the lingo, without having to know what an CoA HMG CoA reductase inhibitor is. And so I would just encourage people to look for ways to keep it simple and don't get bogged down in all of the technical details. Keep it simple so that anyone can do the business.
Until now, I still do the fundamental things because I believe they're only basic. There's no magic. So no matter what, I still go to the class, I still learning, I still take my notes, writing all the notes, and I still do the same thing with new beginners because, fundamental things is lead by example. If you do it well, then you build a very strong organization. It will last.
Probably the greatest lesson I've learned in this business from a distributor was that from a 10 million circle member. This person had earned a ton of money with the company. He was incredibly successful, and he began to become complacent and quit doing the basics, quit doing the fundamentals of the business. And with that, he became a little bit bitter toward the company, a little bit bitter toward the business, and got a little bit upset with things. And he went out online. He was surfing the web one time, and he found a bunch of motivational tapes. And this is back in the days of cassette tapes. And he started popping those things in his car every time he was driving. If he was working at his desk, he popped it in the tape player. And he would listen to these things whenever he had an opportunity. And as he continued to listen to these things, he remembered the reason he joined the business. And he remembered the reasons he became successful, which was doing the fundamentals. And according to him, it brought him full circle back to a focused, hardworking distributor, which took him to places that most of us will never even see.
The core fundamentals, in my opinion, of this business, and it's like any business, there's a certain skill set. I don't care what job you have, what business you're in, there's a certain skill set you need to acquire. And in this business, that skill set is recruiting and prospecting. That's it. You've got to learn to love people, learn to read people, learn to see if they're the kind of person you even want to work with. Learn to love people, always talk to people, just keep recruiting, keep talking to people, keep loving people, keep putting one foot in front of the other. It's really simple to do. And if you just do that, then you'll be successful at it. And it'll stretch you. It'll make you grow. It might be the most challenging thing you ever engage in, but it's worth it. It's worth it to do it.
I'd go back to our mission statement. It's to be a force for good by empowering people to improve their lives. It again starts with improving your own life, focusing on the things you can do better, and focusing on doing a little bit every day. We become who we are through a process over time. and become better by practicing those principles that are important to us and that we feel other people view as sincere and real.
I think, and we certainly do not want to discourage people from being innovative and from being creative in the ways they go about the business. But hopefully they'll also be smart enough to recognize that a lot of the lessons have already been learned, and they should look to people who are successful in the business and learn about how they did it, learn how they do it, because there's a high likelihood they've made a lot of the mistakes that hopefully people can avoid along the way.
A couple of years ago, we were in Europe on a Team Elite trip, and as I was walking down the street with some other people, I heard a loud booming voice in the background, and it was real familiar, and he was talking about our biophotonic scanner. I turned around, and there was one of our Team Elites who is also a $20 million Circle member, which means he's earned over $20 million with us. He's got his arm around an Italian guy, and he's telling him about our biophotonic scanner and what a significant difference it's making in the world. And he didn't need to do that. He didn't even need to talk to that person. He didn't need to sponsor that person for his own sake, but he was doing it because he could create something good for someone else. My point is, even though this guy has made more than $20 million with this company, he continues to stay with the basics, which is talking to people every day.
I think the key is that you have to keep it simple, and you have to get the trust level up with your people, and then listen to find out what it is they really want, if they can really define what it is they want. And then you start building on that. You don't want to, we used to say, you don't want to throw up on people by giving them too much information to where it's overwhelming. So you've got to get to know them enough, and they have to get to know you enough that you can get the trust level up by getting them to start talking until you can see what their needs are and what we can do to fill that, and then kind of play back to them what their own thoughts are, to validate them and to validate that this is a good direction. And now if your goal really is this, then this is, where you begin, and this is what it will take. If your goal is here, you start out with beginnings, and you increase skill, you practice, increase skill. It's like anything else. I don't care if you're learning to ride a bike or whatever it is. It's the same principle.
まずは多くの成功している人のそばから離れないこと、そして質問していくこと、アドバイスをもらうこと、そして各ミーティングに出るために時間を投資すること、そういう初期の段階の時間の投資をぜひねしていただきたいと思いますね。僕はね、それはね、まずはやってみせるっていうことだと思うんですよ。どんな、赤ちゃんでも、子供でも自転車に乗りたいって言えば、じゃあ乗らせるよりも、じゃあパパが乗るところを見てとか、自分がまず模範を見せてやってみせてあげて、でそしてやらせてみせて褒めてあげる、そして人は動くという法則があると思うんで。
If you're not going to be an optimist, you probably won't be very successful in this business. You got to be an optimist. You got to see the world through rose-colored glasses. Really, you do, because you create your own reality. People say, what's reality? It's whatever people perceive their reality to be. And if you perceive that you've got all this opportunity and all this, in front of you, that it's going to grow and be big and successful and huge, then that's the way your reality will be. And that's what you'll project to other people. It's absolutely the way it is.
Everywhere you go, there's war and there's doubt and there's people fighting. And I don't want to see that in Nu Skin. I want to see it as a force for good in more ways than one. I want to see us all working toward the common goal. And if someone else has a different way of doing it, embrace it, listen to it. Realize it is a possibility, and if it's not for you, make a different choice. But it's not necessarily wrong. The people that I see successful in this business are the people that are positive. And as soon as you dwell on what's wrong with something else, you're dwelling on a negative. So rather than dwelling on that, simply listen to the message, make a decision for yourself if it's for you or not, and then proceed on.
I will often have people come to me and introduce themselves, and they'll say, well, I'm so-and-so, and I'm just a ruby, or I'm so-and-so, and I'm just an emerald. And a lot of times when I hear people introduce themselves as just a ruby, I feel like kicking them in the shins, because just a ruby represents a tremendous amount of success and a tremendous amount of development. Not everyone has to be a Blue Diamond or a Team Elite to be a success.
You know, you got to get out of this bug eye view. You know, get up here with the bird and look down and see the whole thing, see the whole picture. But that picture for them is still going to be here compared to somebody who has been around the world and who has lived a few hundred years and had all these experiences. So you can't take them there. You have to take them to where they can quit the bug eye view from where they're at and get them to lift up to see the bird's eye view so that they can project. And without that, they can't see where they're going.
When you say setback, then I separate these words, becomes two words. It's a set back. I start to think about what that's supposed to mean. That means I'm not ready yet. It delayed the things for me to get it. Then I start to know, time for me to learn more. I need to improve myself more. And looking for what area I need to do more to get better, more practice or what. If I'm ready, of course, there's no setback. So to me, setback to me is something to tell me time to get ready to improve myself. Once I get ready, of course, I will overcome the challenges.
Well, people say, okay, so how do you be successful? How did you do it? Well, you try this and you work at it, and then you fail. So you back up and you try this and you work at that, and maybe you fail there, and then you try this and you fail there, and you try this and you fail there, and you basically fail your way to success. It's not easy to do. It's worth it. I don't think it's particularly difficult. You just have to keep after it.
In a recent meeting with our top leaders, our team elites, Blake Roney asked them a question. He asked them, how many of you were moving along in your business only to encounter an unforeseen obstacle? 90% of every one of our top leaders acknowledged that they had some kind of unforeseen obstacle that was put in their way. They were able to overcome it and succeed despite it. I think a lot of times what makes a difference for us as individuals is to recognize and acknowledge that there is no easy path. Everyone encounters obstacles. It's about how we confront those obstacles that makes leaders it's the difference between leaders who succeed and leaders who fail.
Well, like everything in life, you can expect unexpected things to happen. You just cannot expect things to go your way every time. You just have to keep in mind why you're doing this business. And if you focus on that strongly enough, you'll be able to overcome almost any obstacle life throws at you.
I think we do people a disservice when we lead them to believe, or when we encourage them to believe, that this is going to be easy, because it's not. It's going to be probably the most frightening thing people have ever done, and the most challenging thing people have ever done. And they should probably know that going into it, because they'll have to confront those fears. They're going to have to confront that reality, and they're going to have to find ways to overcome it. The way that that I do, and the way that I look at the business, and the way that I know Blake looks at the business, has a lot to do with mindset. When we're talking to people about what we do, we should recognize that, first of all, we're inviting them to take a look at an opportunity that can dramatically improve the way they live. We're inviting them to take a look at an opportunity that is based on principles of integrity and honesty. We're inviting them to take a look at a business whose mission it is to be a force for good in the life of not only the people we're extending the invitation to, but in the lives of everyone we come in contact with.
There are always going to be people who will tell you you can't do it. I think of a story that I was related to me recently by one of our leaders, who said that when she started the business, her husband told her that she wasn't educated enough, that she wasn't sufficiently good at speaking in public, and then told her that there was no way that she could accomplish anything because she didn't even drive, so how she wouldn't be able to get to the places she needed to go. A year later, when she was taken across the stage and presented with her blue diamond pin, she told me those things didn't matter. She told me that her education wasn't nearly as important as people knowing that she was sincere in her belief, that her speaking ability became better and better as she went along, and that, again, her sincerity was more important than being trained as a public speaker. And then she also confided that the driving wasn't a problem because after several months of success in the business, her husband decided he would be her driver and would take her to the appointments.
Couples will work together, a husband and wife team in the business. And quite often, it is not uncommon for them to have very different mindsets and very different perspectives about how they see the business and see the world. I remember meeting with one of our very successful couples recently. They had made a trip to Canada, and they had done a business opportunity meeting there after having been in the business now for 15 years. And the husband said to me, "Truman, I was so discouraged because here we've been in the business for 15 years, and we go to this business opportunity meeting in Canada, and not one of the 300 people in the room was in our organization." And I would have thought, after 15 years of the business, someone in the room would be in our organization. And his wife then piped up and said, "Well, yes, but Pat, just think of all of the virgin territory we have up there that we can still build our business in." And so what to one person is failure is to another person opportunity. And the difference of mindset and the different way that people react to setbacks has a lot to do with one's ability to overcome those challenges and really endure and persevere and be successful.
落ち込んだ時の対処の方法ですけれども、それはその時点でその失敗という感覚ではなくて、あくまでも目標に向かって途中の軌道修正なんだと。宇宙に向かうロケットでも何回も途中軌道修正をやっています。それと同じように、あなたがその落ち込んだのはそれは失敗ではなくて、成功に向かっての単なる軌道修正にしか過ぎないんだという考え方でまた一歩前進していくということが重要だと思います。
The amount of effort you put into anything corresponds directly to what you get out of it. What I think a lot of people forget is it's that last 5% or last 2% of the effort that yields the biggest results. So just when you think you've given all that you can, it's that final effort to be able to achieve that last part of what you're trying to do that really achieves the result. Those who quit often quit just before the real success takes place.
Well, be patient and be persistent. I mean, tomorrow is another day. Actually, I have a very, very good example. My downline, Cassie Shee, who is a member of 20 Million Circle, in the early days after she sponsored like 15 people, wants to quit because none of them really take the business seriously. And so we talked to her, and after that, the 16s, the 17s, the 18s are all her biggest group. So if she quit at the 16, that would be, quite a disappointment. So I think if you look at different organizations, this kind of example exists everywhere. So the key is to be patient, to persistent, to keep on trying.
Once I know where I'm going, and that's the very clear direction, there's no such thing as give up anymore. To me, it's no longer exist, because that to me just set back something for me to learn, to get ready. It's not a give up. So if you have that kind of thinking, go back to your basic. Make sure you know where you're going. If you really know where you're going, to me, I have the strong passion for that. So nothing will stop me. I don't think about give up anymore.
The difference between a successful distributor in this business and someone who is not successful is the successful distributor never, ever quit. I remember I had a great team elite tell me one time that quitting is never a good strategy. It's never a good strategy. No matter what you're doing, quitting is never a good strategy. So don't ever do it. And the way you don't quit is to keep focused on what it is that brought you into this business and to continue to do the fundamentals of the business that make every successful distributor successful. The key is never quit. You never know when you're going to talk to that next person that's going to change your life. I have story after story after story of someone who was going to quit the business, but they talked to one more person, and that one more person did something good in the business. That energized them to talk to one more person. For sure they're going to find failures, but if they continue to talk to somebody every single day, that's what creates a successful distributor.
チャレンジします。失敗します。そこで終わってしまったら何の可能性もありませんね。チャレンジします。失敗します。そしたら反省しましょう。そしてまた再チャレンジします。そして失敗します。そしてまた反省する。これを繰り返していくことなんです。そうするとどんどん失敗の回数が減ります。可能性が高くなります。ですから失敗した時に学べるということを、これをありがたく思ってね、どんどん努力していけば必ず成功はあなたの手にあると思います。
私もニュースキン始めたのが14年前なんですね。それで大変な時もありましたけれども、やっぱり私はチャレンジすることが大好きで、私の、スポンサーからも言われたんですけれども、とにかくね頑張って成功するまでやれば成功するって言われたんですね。それでいろんなニュースキンファミリーの方からの大きな声援とサポートしていただいて、ここまで頑張ってこれたんですけれども、本当にね波に乗るまで時間かかる時があるんですね。でどのビジネスでも簡単にね1日や2日でできる成功できるビジネスではないと思うんですね。ビジネスだけでなく何事においても努力をしてね時間をかけて頑張ってやっていくっていうことが私は大事だと思います。それを私ダウンラインの方にお伝えしています。